Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We welcome every one of us again to this blessed occasion, August Sisters Forum occasion. We thank God for preserving her life to see the light of today. We ask for his forgiveness and ask that he accept all of this from us as an act of ibadah. Allahumma ameen. This session is going to be highly interesting, fully loaded as usual. We thank all our sisters and mothers who come together to put this together. I'm not going to be the moderator for today, so I'm going to be handing over to our moderator of today. I'm just going to quickly do a brief introduction of our moderator. Alaja Shakirat Emiola will be moderating our Sisters Forum for today. I can see our mother. I am not sure whether she's okay. I think okay, right. So I will quickly. I'm not sure whether our mother can do the opening prayer for us, but permit me to hand over to Alaja Shakira. Alaja Shakira, are you there? MashaAllah. Kindly, MashaAllah. So Alaja Shakira is our moderator for today. She's a lecturer, higher education lecturer, a mother, wife, beautiful soul, beautiful hearts, who love to help other women and the needy as well. So we say Ahlan wa sahlan to Haja Shakira Emiola. Can you please take over the program, please, inshallah? Ahlan wa sahlan.
Ahlan bik. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Sister Shakirat Emiola, so inshallah I will be taking over for today. The first call of the day would be an opening prayer from our sister Sayyidah Aisha Muhammad Awal, and she will give us the opening prayer for 5 minutes. Is Sister Sayyidah on?
I'm not sure whether it's convenient for her.
Okay.
Yeah, so our mother can unmute herself if she's okay to do the opening prayer for us, please. You are muted, Mama.
She's muted, yes.
You'd have to excuse me on this occasion. Oh, I'm in the middle of lineup and it's not nice to speak and pray. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no worries, inshallah. So I will take that on board then, inshallah. Thank you, Mama. Yeah, so alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen. We thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for this blessed one. May Allah accept it from every one of us as an act of ibadah. May Allah see us through this session and then make every participant beneficial and take good things away from here. We welcome you all in the name of the Lord. We welcome you all in the name of Allah and Rasulullah Sallallahu to all our speakers, friends, families, and everybody who's going to be part of this occasion. We say, may God Almighty continue to bless you all richly. Allahumma ameen. Naam, bismillah.
Okay, so thank you for that, Sister Sayyidah Bello, and we'll move on to the next item of the day, and that's Qairat al-Quran by Hajia Nurat Hassan. I don't know if she's on the platform at the moment. Hajia Nurat Hassan.
Yes, she is, but I don't think our audio is connected yet.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yes, our audio is connected. So, Hajia Nurat, you are welcome. We can hear you now.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ahlan wa sahlan, Sister Nora, you are welcome. We can hear you now.
Alhamdulillah, mina shaitanir rajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Wa bihi nasta'in. Ar-Rahman. Allama al-Quran. Khalaqal insana 'allamahul bayan. Asy-syamsu wal qamaru bihusban. Wan najmu wasyajarun yasjudan. Was-samaa'a rafa'aha wa wada'al mizan. Allah tatagaw fil mizan. Wa aqimil wazna bil qisti wa la tuksiru bil mizan. Wala arida wa wada'alana fiha fakiyatun wan nakhlun zatul akmam wala habbu zul asfi war rayhan fabi'ayyi ala'i rabbikuma tukaziban. Khalaqal insana min salsalin kal fakhar wa khalaqal janna min marijin min nar. Fabi'ayyi ala'i rabbikuma tukadziban. Rabbul masyriqaini wa rabbul maghribaini rabbikuma tukadziban. Taqiyan bainahuma barizahum la yabghiyan. Fabi'ayyi ala'i rabbikuma tukadziban. Yakhruju minhuma al-lu'lu'u wal marjan. Fabi'ayyi ala'i rabbikuma tukadziban. Walahul jawaril munsha'atu fil bahri kal a'lam. Fabi'ayyi ala'i rabbikuma tukadziban. Sadaqallahu mawlana al-azim wa balagha rasulul karim wa nahnu ala dhalika minash shahidin.
Allahumma amin. Thank you very much to our sister. That was a beautiful recitation. Jazakallah khairan for that. Third item on the list is Musabihat Ashara by Alaja Ganiat or Lateef.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم إني نويت أن أتقرب إليك بتلاوتي مسابحات العشر بنية تعبدا لله تعالى وبنية تسليم وبنية تسليم جميع مولاها من الكواسي والكرامات والخيرات والبركات والفتوات في الدنيا والآخرة إنك على كل شيء قدير أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل أعوذ برب الناس مالك الناس إله الناس من شر الوسواس الخناس الذي يوسوس في صدور الناس من الجنة والناس بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل أعوذ برب الفلق من شر ما خلق ومن شر غاسق إذا وقب ومن شر نفاثات في العقد ومن شر حاسد إذا حسد بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل يا أيها الكافرون لا أعبد ما تعبدون ولا أنتم عابدون ما أعبد ولا أنا عابد ما عبدتم ولا أنتم عابدون ما أعبد لكم دينكم ولي دين الله لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم لا تأخذه سنة ولا نوم له ما في السماوات وما في الأرض من ذا الذي يشفع عنده إلا بإذنه يعلم ما بين أيديهم وما خلفهم ولا يحيطون بشيء من علمه إلا بما شاء وسع كرسيه السماوات والأرض ولا يؤوده حفظهما وهو العلي العظيم سبحان الله والحمد لله ولا إله إلا الله والله أكبر ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم عدد ما علم وملء ما علم وزنة ما علم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد عبدك ونبيك ورسولك النبي الأمي وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم اللهم اغفر لي ولوالدي وللمؤمنين والمؤمنات والمسلمين والمسلمات الأحياء منهم والأموات اللهم افعل بي وبهم عاجلا وآجلا في ديني ودنيا والآخرة ما أنت له أهل ولا تفعل بنا وبهم يا مولانا ما نحن له أهل إنك غفور حليم جواد كريم رؤوف رحيم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد النبي عدد ما صل عليه من خلقك وصل على سيدنا محمد النبي كما ينبغي لنا أن نصلي عليه وصل على سيدنا محمد النبي كما أمرتنا أن نصلي عليه اللهم مغفرتك أوسع من ذنوبي ورحمتك أرجى من عملي لا إله إلا الله والله أكبر لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له لا إله إلا الله له الملك وله الحمد لا إله إلا الله ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العظيم أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله وأن عيسى عليه السلام عبد الله ورسوله وابن أمته وكلمته ولقاها إلى مريم وروح منه وأن الجنة حق وأن النار حق سبحان الله والحمد لله ولا إله إلا الله والله أكبر ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله ملء ما علم وعدد ما علم وزنة ما علم لا إله إلا الله يا دافع يا مانع يا حفيظ يا حكيم سبحانك اللهم يا من يزرع الجميل وستر الكبير ولم يأخذ بجيرته ولم يتك سترا ويا عظيم العفو ويا سنة تجاوز ويا واسع المغفرة ويا بسط اليدين برحمة ويا سميع كل نجوى ويا منتهى كل شكوى ويا كريم الصفي ويا عظيم المانع ويا مكل لأسعارة ويا مبتدئ بنيام قبل استقاقها يا ربي ويا سيدي ويا مولاي ويا غاية رغبتي أسألك أن لا تشاوي حقيقة بلاء الدنيا ولا بأصحاب النار اللهم إني أسألك خير المسألة وخير الدعاء وخير النجاة وخير الأموال وخير الثواب وخير الحياة وخير الممات وتبتني وتأكل موازيني وحقق إيماني وارفع درجاتي وتقبل صلاتي واغفر لي خطيئتي وأسألك درجات الأولى من الجنة آمين اللهم إني أسألك فواتح الخير وخواتمه وجوامعه وأوله وآخره وظاهره وباطنه وأسألك درجات الأولى من الجنة آمين اللهم إني أسألك خير ما آتي وخير ما أفعل وخير ما أعمل وخير ما أبطن وخير ما أزيد وأسألك درجات الأولى من الجنة آمين اللهم إني أسألك أن ترفع ذكري وتدع وزري وتسر أمري وتطهر قلبي وتوسع فرجي وتنور قلبي وتغفر لي ذنبي وأسألك درجات الأولى من الجنة آمين اللهم إني أسألك أن تبارك لي في سمعي وفي بصري وفي روحي وفي قلبي وفي قلقي وفي آلي وفي موياي وفي أملي وتقبل حسناتي وأسألك درجات الأولى من الجنة آمين اللهم بنورك اهتديت وبفضلك استعنت وبك أصبحت وأمسيت ذنوبي كثيرة بين يديك أستغفرك اللهم وأتوب إليك يا حنان يا منان وأسألك الأمن والأمانة من زوال الإيمان والعفو محمد وكان برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين يا أرحم الراحمين يا أرحم الراحمين يا رباه يا رباه يا رب يا جبار 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 اللهم إني أعوذ بك من شر الفريتين وظلمة العينين وهموم الفقر ودين بحرمة جد الحسين وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم الفاتحة بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد الفاتح لما أغلق والخاتم لما سبق ناصر الحق بالحق والهادي إلى صراطك المستقيم وعلى آله حق قدر مقدار لازم سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.
Ameen. Amen. Jazakallah for that, Sister Ghania to Allah Teju. Alhamdulillah. We're moving on to the fourth item on our schedule, and that's for our guest speaker. She is an entrepreneur, a sister, a friend, a mother. She runs a technology consultant company that provides architecture and security services to the government and corporate clients alike. She is currently working on the launching of a new startup, inshallah. And we'd like to give our salam and our greetings to Mrs Lara Akinyede. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Good afternoon, Sister Thank you so much for that introduction. And thank you to everyone here for inviting me. So as has been said, my name is Lara Akinyede. You know, I am a sister, I'm your sister, I'm a daughter, I'm my parents' child. Actually, let's start from the start. I'm a child of God. I'm my parents' daughter. I'm a sister. I'm a mom. I'm an aunt. I'm a colleague. I'm a neighbor to my neighbors, and I'm a citizen, you know, a citizen of this world. And right now, living in London. So thank you so much for this great honor, because it's not, we don't take it for granted when people sit down and listen to us. You know, it's a great honor. And I pray that God will speak to all of us and we can all learn something from the words that it has to share with us today. So my talk today is about relationships. When I was asked if I would speak, my initial thought was, no, I don't want to speak, because what have I got to say? And then when I convinced myself that I would do it, I was like, what will I talk about? Shall I talk about forgiveness? Because that is a topic that is very, very heavy on my heart right now. You know, constantly, I just feel the world needs to forgive. We as individuals need to forgive. We need to all come together and say we'll forgive. But then I thought, no, actually, that's too narrow. Let's talk about relationships. And to set us off today, I want to do a quick exercise. So please don't give me the answer to these questions I'm going to ask you, because we will get the opportunity for you to tell me during the talk. So the first question is, can you please tell me who the 33rd president of the United States was? So right now, I believe we're on number 46 or so. And I just want to know who number 33 of the US president was, because, you know, they always say that the US president is the most important man on our earth, in the world that we live in. So because they've only had 46, it should be easy for us to know who 33 is.
Is okay. That, sorry, do you want us to answer that now?
You can answer it if you have the answer, please. Yes.
Truman. Is that President Truman?
You're probably right, except that I don't know. I don't know. And it's to make a point. And if anybody wants to find out if that's correct or not, please do Google it. And on that, continuing along those lines, could anyone tell me who the 11th Prime Minister of the United Kingdom that I am sitting in, because I'm sure we have some people from Nigeria. We'll do one for Nigeria as well. The 11th Prime Minister of this great country. If you know it, please volunteer the answer. And on that note, along those lines, can someone please tell me who maybe even the 4th leader, because I don't know what we call our leaders. We've had heads of state, we've had presidents, we've had even prime minister in Nigeria. So who the 4th leader of our great nation, Nigeria, was? Probably we'll have to think before we come up with those names. Okay, so I know people are muted. I'm being told people are muted, so that's fine. Not people are muted, that's okay. You don't have to, you can put it in the chat if you have the answer. And this is going to lead me into the talk about relationships. And before I start my talk, I will leave you with one final question. Throughout this talk, I want you to think of someone who has hurt you so much that you're still thinking about them and about that hurt today. And likewise, I want you to think about someone who has been a source of blessing to you, that you are still benefiting from that blessing today. And you're still giving thanks to God for their life and for what they did for you. So on that note, I'm going to quickly share my screen. I have this, which I hope will share properly. During the week, I use Teams, and at the weekend, I use Zoom. So I do get confused sometimes. Can you see my screen? Is that a yes? Can someone nod if they can see my screen, please?
Yes, we can.
Right. Okay. So this, I didn't make this up. This I found on the internet. And I'm not going to read it, or I could even read it. It says some people could be given an entire field of roses and only see the thorns in it. Others could be given a single weed and see the wildflower in it. Perception is a key component to gratitude, and gratitude is a key component to joy. This is a this is heavy. This is so thought-provoking, that the way we perceive things is the key to whether we're going to be happy about situation or whether we're going to be permanently unhappy. And this is by no means saying that we don't become unhappy sometimes. We do. When we suffer loss, we have every reason to be unhappy. And when something great happens in our life, we have every cause to be joyful and to be thankful. So this is not talking about those times when, you have cause to be extremely happy because you've been blessed, or cause to be sad because there's been a loss. This is talking about everyday behavior. When we get out of bed, when we make breakfast, when we take children to school, or when we help our neighbors, when we go to work, it's how we perceive things that is the key to our joy. Because I'm believing all of us are here because we believe God will reveal something to us in the course of these meetings over the year and over the years that will help us improve our lives and increase our joy. So bear this in mind, keep this in mind. And then talking about relationships, I believe you all will agree, you all do agree, because we are God's children, that our relationship with God Almighty is the most important, right? So we are here as people of faith. You practice your faith in the Islam way. I practice mine in the Christian way. And I have friends who practice theirs in the Jewish Judaism way. And for our purpose, it doesn't really matter. What matters is that we do know that God is God. There is one God. He created us, and he created us for a reason. And he didn't create us so that we will suffer. Actually, contrary to that, he made us so that we will worship him, right? So that we will serve him, we will obey him, we will follow him, we will trust him, and we do all of those things. But then he could have created just me, right? God could have said, I have so much time, I'm going to perfect my work in just one person. And that's that. But no, he perfected his work in each and every 7 billion or maybe 8 billion of us, in the animals that we see, all the living things that we see, in the plants, in the flowers, in our world. he perfected his work. And he released us, he gave us free will to come, to be here, because he sent us forth. None of us, no matter how clever we are, no matter how great we are, none of us put ourselves here, right? God made us and he sent us forth to this world. And we're here. And he gave us one instruction, or maybe two, if you want to split it, to love him, to seek him, to serve him, to obey him, and to love our neighbors, to love one another, to love even the world that we live in. And therefore, I believe, and I hope you agree with me, that our greatest relationship, the one most important relationship that every one of us is capable of participating in, of enjoying, of building, is that one with God. So we can put that to one side, because I know as women of faith who practice and truly believe in the instructions that God has given us, we don't have any problems agreeing with this. We actually do agree. So the question is, while we're talking about it, we can park it. We agree. So the next one, our relationship with one another. And this is where it goes downhill, right? Because if you look at my next slide, so to my left, I have something, and all these images I just picked from from Google. You know, I searched. There is calm. You know, they look like tiny islands, but the waters are calm. And these people look like their family, right? Looks like they're a multi-generational family sitting together, enjoying a meal. There is tranquility. There is calmness. There is balance in the world that God created. And then it comes into our hands, and then we have this. We have chaos. We have strife. We have envy. We have jealousy. We have unhealthy ambition. And not that I qualified it. I said unhealthy. There's nothing wrong with being ambitious. There's actually nothing wrong in someone saying they want to be the prime minister of this country. I don't want to be, because I just think it's going to be so much hard work. And how am I going to do that? And to be able to have time for my neighbor, my children, my friends, even myself, even God. How will I be able to balance leading such a great country? But there's nothing wrong in that. I think it becomes a challenge if we are like, okay, I'm going to destroy the current prime minister so that I can be. So that's jealousy, that's envy, that's strife. And this is where we are in the world right now. It's a mess, and it's not working for any of us. On the individual level, we want to be successful as whatever we choose to be comfortable with, as mothers, as housewives, supporting our husbands, as ladies, ruling the world, changing the world for good, as children, being obedient to our parents. We want that freedom, and we want that grace to be able to do that. But do we really? Can we really, when our world is effectively like this? We're what the Yorubas say, you know, when you have a fire raging on your roof and you go to bed, and that's what we're sleepwalking into. And we're not even sleepwalking into it. We're there. And how did we get here? Broken relationships, right? Right from the family, from home, to schools, to the world, broken relationships. And it causes me to say, but why are relationships broken? When you talk to individuals, they're good. But then when you look out, it's bad. It's a parody. It doesn't make sense. And that leads us to what are our challenges. So can please, if you have the answer to someone who hurt you so much in the past that you're still remembering, can you please put up your hand so that the host can unmute and you can share the experience with us, please, if you don't mind. Do we have anyone who wants to? No? Okay. And I tell you why. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised that people almost, I'm assuming it's because you can't easily lay your hand on a time when someone hurt you so much that you're still remembering it now. When they hurt you, you remember and you feel the pain. But because of the way we're made, because of the way we're conditioned, because of the way God wants us to live, we don't remember those evil. Even if we remember that, oh, my sister, my older sister, she was a monster when we were young. That's all you remember. You just remember that, oh, she was tough. You don't remember the exact things that she did to hurt you. But on the other hand, if we talk about someone who has done something to us in our lives, or, at some point in our lives that helped us to where we are today, I bet everybody can easily recall. If it's not your mother who woke up early in the morning to put out the wares so that she can pay your fees, it will be a teacher in school, it will be a friend who gave you the information for something. We are conditioned to be relational, and our relationships are meant to be good, to be positive, regardless of how God has formed us, regardless of whether we're tall, shorter, younger, older, of the Christian faith, of the Muslim faith, of Jewish faith. It doesn't matter, because God knew all of this when he placed us all in the same space to cohabit. And to reinforce that, as part of the introduction, I thought I could have mentioned that, the reason why I'm here is because of relationship building. I was asked if I would do this by Mrs. Fumilawa. Now, we're not the same age. We didn't go to the same school. I know she was born in this country and taken to Nigeria, just as I was, but not in the same time. I lived in Ibadan, went to school in Oyo, and then went to UI. I think her path was different. She lived in Lagos. And we met in school. We met in our daughter's school. And our daughters are not in the same class. So our daughter is not in class with any of my 3 daughters. She actually didn't even approach me as Lara, young lady or old lady or whatever, what's your name? She used to send things to me through the lady who helped look after my children. So, in the morning, she would bring her car, I would bring my car, I would drop them off. Then in the afternoon, when the lady who picked up my children, when she would come, Mama Amina will approach her and say, give to Cecilia, the lady. I don't think she knew my name then. And what she used to give me was stockfish. Sometimes she would give me something different, but I remember stockfish. And why do I remember? Because I don't eat stockfish, right? So I don't eat it because I just find it hard. But I used to take it. Then it was a lady called Bidemi that picked up my children. Bidemi will be like, Wanikin for you. They said I should give me. I will take it. I will say thank you. When I see my mommy, I will say thank you. Then she will give me. As we got closer, one day, Bidemi said to her, stop giving this woman stockfish. She doesn't eat it, she won't eat it. Because we will cook it. Bidemi will eat it, but I won't, and some will give. So she was like, stop giving her. And that's how we became friends. Because then she started giving me something else. And we started talking. And, we practice our faith in different ways. But I would like to believe we're very good friends. We've been together for a long time. And that's what relationship is about, isn't it? It's not that you are the same. It's that we are different, we look different, but ultimately we're the same because we're sent from God and placed on this earth to do his will, to look after the things he has entrusted in our hands and to glorify his name. Because ultimately, heaven and earth will pass away, but God remains. All of us would pray to be old and aged and successful. We are passing. We are in transit. And all the things we acquire, all the PhDs, the professorship, the knowledge, the wisdom, the position, becoming president, becoming prime minister, they are passing because they are a stage thing. What really is important is our love of God, which we all agree on, and our love for ourselves. And that, I think, is where we disagree. So love, we've talked about love. If you love God, you will love his being. If I love God, I have to love you. I cannot love God and say, oh, I don't like Sister Hamdalah. I honestly cannot stand that. That is the opposite of what God has called us to do. We have to love each other. And thankfulness, that is so important. We have to be thankful for whatever situation and whatever position we find ourselves in life. And the truth is, it is hard sometimes, even for those who seem to have it all. It is hard. And how do I know? I didn't realize that it was possible to walk around with a broken heart until I lost my brother. I thought, oh, those who have suffered a massive loss, we don't see because they disappear. They stop living. No, everybody that we see, that we relate with, or even not relate with, everybody has something that they're carrying around. I listened to a couple of the previous sessions. I know some people mentioned things like shyness. That's not even a problem. Everybody's shy. I am shy. But some people have some really heavy burden. But I put it to you that everybody has some burden. And the relativity, the heaviness is relative. And that's why we must practice thankfulness. Because despite it all, we have God. Because God doesn't change address. He doesn't move. He doesn't change. He's there forever. And he's there for us to call onto. We must be thankful that he's still there for us, regardless of what we're going through. And that's where thankfulness comes in. That's where the first slide that I showed, that many people, they may be sleeping in a bed of roses and in a bed of flowers, and they will still feel the only thing they know is a thorn. But you give someone a piece of grass, they see that yellow bud, they see the flower in it. So we must be that person who sees beauty in things and have a chance, find the opportunity to thank God. And then grace. Grace is so linked to forgiveness. And this is a big one, I think, for us who practice faith, who believe in one true God, who created this, the heaven and this earth, who placed us here. Grace is what we define as unmerited favor. So when you have what the world will call good luck, or what the world will call, oh, I was able to do this, because I'm beautiful, or because I'm tall, or because no, it is the grace of God. And the grace of God is free. And it gives it to us freely on a daily basis. Because if we could see how God sees us, even we will be surprised. Even we will be like, why am I still here, God? How am I still standing? Why? Because it gives grace. And likewise, He has given us that same grace so that we can show it to others. And we don't give grace, right? We don't often, because we criticize and we complain and we tell people off harshly. We have to criticize our children. We have to tell them off, because how do we train them? But we have to do it with love. Even ourselves, even our friends. You know, when we talk to our friends, we have to tell them the truth, because otherwise we're not good friends, right? What is a friend if a friend cannot tell you where you're going wrong, or even encourage you when you're doing something good? But everything we do, we have to do with grace, because God gives us grace, and it gives us not so that it can die in us. It's a living thing. It gives us so that it can flow through us. It can be sent out to others so that people will look at us and see our Father in us. We'll come to that. Trust. We have to trust God, right? And I hope and I believe that this is a forum of women who trust in God firmly. Otherwise, we wouldn't be doing this. We wouldn't be talking to each other. But then we have to trust our fellow human beings. We have to apply wisdom. God created this world. He built this world on wisdom. He used wisdom to create our world. He's the God of wisdom. There is harmony. There is balance in what God does. God is not a God of mistake, and He does not do corrections. There is no correction in God's work. There is harmony. And He built this in wisdom, because He knew all the relationships that would be there. And that wisdom we must ask for, because we need wisdom in our relationship with God. And talking about wisdom, you know, when I was about 20-something years old, like before 25, I thought I was the smartest person in the world. Honestly, I'm so ashamed to say that now, but I say it to encourage people or to get people thinking about how they perceive themselves. I thought I was really smart. And then after I turned 25, I realized I wasn't smart at all. Not only was I not smart, I didn't know 0.001% of what I needed to know to live a meaningful life, to live a life that is free of strife and trouble. And I didn't do anything about it, as you would expect. You know, I just carried on. But as the challenges of life came, you start start seeing these things as you get older, I realize the only way I can survive is if I get back down on my knees and go to God and ask for wisdom. Because there are so many things that if we use our ordinary eyes to act or to respond to or to do, oh my God, the end will just not even work out for us. Because they said, you know, there's that saying that unless God builds a house, those who labor, labor in vain. And therefore it is wisdom of God that tells us where to put our labor and where not to. How to interact with our husbands, when to respond or when to keep quiet, when to tell our friends that I'm the one paying for the food in this house, do you know? Because your friends don't need to know. What God has joined together, let no man put asunder. And the Yorubas have a saying, it doesn't matter who's doing what in a relationship, because the theme of our conversation is relationship. If you come to, like Mama Mina gave me gifts for so many, many months, if not a couple of years, does it matter? It doesn't matter. What matters is that we have a good relationship based on trust, love, thankfulness, grace, trust, and you need wisdom to do that. Wisdom to know who to get close to, wisdom to know who to talk to and what to say to people. Because some people, honestly, we don't always need to share everything. People don't always need to know. Forgiveness, very, 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 very important. So unforgiving is like a cancer. It destroys the person that is carrying that unforgiveness. And if we go back to what I said, that if we could see how God sees us, many of us will be astounded that we're still around. God gives us grace and he forgives our many sins. We are not worthy of being here. We're not worthy of being called God's child just because we sing his praises, just because we pray all the time, just because we do all the things, we give charity, and we try and be nice to people, because we're not always nice to people, but we do try. We're not worthy of being called God's child because of that. We're worthy of being called God's child because it called us that. It calls us that. He calls us my child, like our children, for those of us who have children, or our nieces and our nephews. When we say, that's my niece, it's not because the niece is behaving properly or badly. It's because that person is your niece. When we say that person is my son or my daughter, it's not because they go around being nice, and whether they're nice or they're not nice, they are our child. And that's how we are to God. We are God's children. And it's not our works or lack of that makes us God's children. It is what he has called us. And he forgives our sins on a daily basis. Even this morning, I'm sure I've sinned. I am sure. Even if it's just the fact that I probably told my husband off jokingly, we all sin. And anyone who says, I'm not a sinner, I'll be like, okay, I'm so happy for you. Because the only people who do not sin are not here. They are our loved ones who have gone before us. They are 6 foot under. As we're drawing breath, every minute of the day, we're probably doing something less than how we should do it. So we must extend grace to people. We must learn to forgive. And forgiveness starts with ourselves. We must forgive ourselves. Many people, and a lot of us, we have issues that we're struggling with. You know, it's not very obvious to people who see us, but we know if we're being truthful to ourselves. And if we ask ourselves, if we go into therapy, I don't do therapy, so please don't think I'm not selling therapy. I don't do therapy, but I do a lot of sitting down and reflecting on God's words. If we sit down and, you know, do some self-analysis, we will see that some of the things holding us back they stem from our inability to forgive ourselves. Not even others, our inability to forgive ourselves. And that's a major thing because many people find it easy to believe and to accept that God forgives. Because why else will we still be here today if God does not forgive? So we believe that and we don't have any problem understanding that. And we believe and we sort of don't have problems understanding that we should forgive those people who've hurt us in the past, right? Because as God's children, we know that's what God asks of us. So we will do it because we know who our Father is and He has given us the instruction. But what about forgiving ourselves? That is so critical. That is so important. That is so crucial to having a good relationship with others, with our husbands, with our brothers, with our uncles, with our neighbors, with even our fellow citizens that we rub shoulders with on a daily basis. So that's very important. That is one that I'm just like, God, we do need to forgive one another. And I search my soul and I will own up, I'm not there yet. I haven't fully forgiven everybody that I could easily not hold a grudge against. Because when you forgive, you remember those things that went wrong and you can laugh about it because you have seen the growth that you took from even that thing that was done to hurt you. You can see that God has turned it around in your favor. Only when you see that can you truly say, oh, it doesn't matter. It's okay. In fact, I thank God for your life because I would not be where I am today if you hadn't or if that thing hadn't happened. And of course, respect. You know, respect is a word that is bandied around. Do you know how many problems we have in this country from this single word? You see the knife crime in, well, at least certainly in London and all these issues. And they always say, oh God, it's tough war. It's people establishing their space. I don't know what the slangs that they use. And even in our culture, you know, we're very big on respect, aren't we? But that's not, I don't believe that's the kind of respect that we should be aiming for or that God wants us to aim for. It is respect for each person's, each entity's right to exist. It is my respect for you to, to appreciate that sitting down and listening to someone deserves me to respect you because I could start talking to a wall. So you showed me the respect by coming, and I have to respect you by acknowledging and appreciating that you have the right to be anywhere today. You've chosen to be here. And our children, it's not kneeling down for our children, but it's realizing and respecting the fact that they have a direct relationship to their Father in heaven, right? To their Creator, to their Maker, because their Maker is our Maker. And in front of God, we're all the same. So to respect them as individuals, respect them to have the right to choose to do things differently to us. Because after all, we did things differently to our parents. We did. If we didn't, we won't be. Those of us in the UK won't be. And those who live in Lagos, who came from Ibadan or wherever else, they wouldn't be there, because otherwise they would be where their mothers and their fathers are, or were when they gave birth to them. So respect, even in the workplace, to know that all authority has been constituted by God. You know, so sometimes when we have that boss that you're like, I can't believe this person is the manager. They don't even know what they're doing. We still give them that respect, right? And the respect that when we have staff, when we have people working for us, you know, maybe doing our childcare, or if we're blessed enough to be in Nigeria, like I suspect some people are, we have, you know, people doing our chef work for us. We don't cook, cleaning our homes and all that. They are human beings like us. Of course, we know they are. Otherwise, we won't ask them to work for us. But they do deserve respect as a human beings. And I've studied a few people. You know, I've looked at people's lives and people's countenance and how they behave. And my observation, and this is my observation, is that the most successful people tend to be the most humble. They tend to be the kindest, tend to be the most gracious, because they understand that where they are is not their doing. If it was their doing, the ant will be the king of the jungle, because the ants work so hard. But they understand that it's the grace of God, and it's a time and a chance. And time belongs to God, and chance belongs to God. It's everything that God has worked together to favor what they lay their hands on. So we do need to, you know, whatever relationship we build, let's build it on respect and positivity. That's another big one. A couple of the previous sessions that I listened to, I know there was talk about, you know, how does one feel positive or bold or courageous? And my take on that is, it's almost difficult if you're a quiet person. It's almost difficult if you're a shy person. And I am a quiet person and I'm a shy person. But it is possible with God. It is possible to go to God and ask for wisdom, and ask for boldness, and ask for strength. And God gives it, because God is our source. He is the one who has everything in his hands. And when we ask him, he will give to us. And take, for example, so we are parents. Some of us are parents. Oh, let's take that back. We all had parents. I've lost my parents, my mother and my father. Please God, they're sitting with God. But let's imagine when we're little and we had a big family. You will have your siblings, then you have members of you know, of your extended family, everybody, and sometimes you will have even the neighbors' children all sat there, and everybody will be rubbing along as though you all belong to the same mother and father. And everybody had different talents and different strength. There were times when our parents, if we're honest to ourselves, our parents gave different things to each child, to different child. You know, you may be going to school together. I remember when I was in university, my brother who was in Ife used to get a lot more money. And I thought it was because my mother loved him more. or not more, because I did not doubt that my mother loved the rest of us. I thought that was because my mother, loves him more or what. It took maturity, and it took me nearly 30 years, if not more, to figure out why. We were in UI. I and my other brother went to UI. My other brother went to Ife. We live in Ibadan. If my mother does not give him more money, will he now be coming home along the Ife-Ibadan express? It's not even called express, it's a road. Will he be coming down every other week to collect more money? Is it my mother who will be traveling to give him more money? That was why he got more. But it took thinking, and it took God's revelation. Maybe God would have revealed it to me 30 years previously if I'd asked God, why? It looks like this woman. So let's not use what we see about other people to reflect on ourselves and say, oh, I'm not good enough. No, we are more than. We are better than we can even imagine. Because if we remember constantly how big our Father is, our Father who made this earth and made it in such balanced form that you see the trees, the birds, everything operating in harmony. And this is a Father that has put his spirit in us. We have the Spirit of God in us. If we remember that constantly, we will become bold. We will become courageous. We will become more than. And even if we still feel I'm not there, I want to be more, we go back to him. Like my brother used to come back once in a while and be like, Mommy, I need some more money. Even after being more.
Sorry to cut you short, sister. We've just gone over time. It's fine. We'd like to hear more from you.
I'm going to run. Sorry, okay. My time was not counting. I'm going to run. So with positivity, we need to be positive. And therefore, I think this is the last slide. How do people know who our Father is? We are a child. We are daughters. We are sisters. We are neighbors. We're colleagues. We're aunts. We're mothers. We're citizens. And we're women. And a woman is like the oak tree. The oak tree, please look it up. The oak tree is the strongest tree. It is known for wisdom. It is known for strength. It is known for its people use it for its healing power. And that's what we are as women. We are oak trees that can never be moved because God has given us so much. And we must use what God has given us to show the world who our Father is. And wherever we are, there must be peace, there must be harmony. And it's all in the relationships, in the home, when our husbands see how good we are, how calm we are, how we cannot be moved like the oak. Imagine what wind will unseat this oak tree. When we're able to do that, I think we can then say, thank God, and mean it from the bottom of our heart, because we are reflecting his truth even on this earth through our relationships. Thank you. I had a few examples of relationships, but I'll round it off now. Thank you
very much. Thank you so much for that lecture on relationship. That was very very informative and very positive. Thank you so much. I pray that on that note that we find the strength to continue to love each other unconditionally, to have strength to forgive each other when we're hurting, and to tolerate each other's faults, and also to remember to be thanking God for all of his mercies. Thank you so much, Sister Akinyede, and we hope to see more of you. Moving on to the next program, which is our Zikri Qasida, but by Sister Sayyidah Bilqis Grillo. Miss Sister Bilqis, I hope she's on the platform.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Ahlan wa sahlan wa marhaba. Good afternoon, my dear sisters. That has been really a rewarding session. May Allah continue to strengthen us. Ba'da a'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Wa salatu wa salamu ala ashrafil mursalin Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajmahin. Wa sallallahu ta'ala ala Sayyidina Muhammad al-Fatihi lima uglika wal khatimi lima sabak. Nasir al-haqi bil-haq. وَلَعَادِي إِلَى صِرَاطِكَ الْمُسْتَقِيمِ وَعَلَى آلِهِ حَقَّ قَدْرِهِ وَمِقْدَارِهِ الْعَظِيمِ. رضي الله تعالى عن قطب المكتوم مولانا شيخ أحمد التجاني رضي الله تعالى عنه البرصة المخلوم والخاتم المحمدي رضوان الله عليه وعلى آله أجمعين. ورضي الله تعالى عن صاحب فائدته القدوة الحنام الشمس الحقيقي الفاني في الله مولانا خليفة الله في الأرض غوث مولانا شيخ الحاج إبراهيم النياس رضي الله تعالى عنه وعلى آله وصحابه وخلفائه من كوف إلى كوف إلى يوم الدين. Assalamu alaikum, my dear sisters. May the peace and blessings of Allah be with us. Alhamdulillah, for today's session, we want to look at the Qasida of Maulana Shaykh Alhaji Ibrahim Niyaz. As we know, most of the messages of Sheikh were written in poetry and prose, and most of them, all of them, virtually all of them are in the place of the Prophet Muhammad, and also in the place of the Sheikhs of our past, Sheikh Ahmad At-Tijani. Among the various Qasaids, we are looking at the one that was among the ones Sheikh Ibrahim recited in his last book, that is called Sayr al-Qalbi bi Madi al-Mustafa al-Hib ila Ajvati Rabbi. And I want us to listen and enjoy the poem. May Allah grant us success. Inna Allah, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Inna Allah wa malaikatahu yusalluna ala nabi. Ya ayyuhallazina amanu sallu alayhi wa sallimu tasliman. وصلى الله تعالى عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. أتيف سرى أم أنا رقبي يمما مواتن خير الناس لسيري صمما. أتيف سرى أم أنا رقبي يمما مواتن خير الناس لسير صمما. وهل يا ترى إني أنيخ ببابي وهمشي بتعذيب لطاع مسلما. أناجي أمين الله خازن سري وموتي ذوي الفاقات كنزا ومغنما. كنادي طه منعمين محمدا أتاك خديم شايب الفود مودمان. أذكر أهلي أم كفاك فإنما تكرمت لي من قبل ما كنت ملزما. مكارم أهل الجود فيك تجمعت فقد خشت خسي الناس بل دمت أكرما. وجئتك هبدا ضاريا متشبثا فأول انتفاتا خادما جاء مجرما. مهيبا فقيرا سائلا جاء شاعرا
يجوب الفيا في هذا شيبا ومهرما فإنك خير الناس من خير أمتي إلى خير مولى قد دعوت مؤمما فإنك خير الناس من خير أمتي إلى خير مولى قد دعوت مؤمما فزدت الورى عبد الإله شفيعنا ولعمد في كفيك أهلا وأعظما لذلك يا الأنبياء وكلهم يراك نبا لكل أوفا وأرعما فجاءك هذا لم يجد عن خديمي فكن لي شفيعا بل أجرني متكرما إذا استوجب الخدام إسكا مؤجلا لدى الشيب أجو أن إتكي تختما فكن لي رسول العالمين محمدا فإني خديم عاش فيك مؤيما أتيتك شرها ثم كهلا وإنني أتيتك شيخا لا يزال متيما كرام وتحيامي ووجدي ورفقتي وقد باس شيري عن سواك محرما إليك وإلا فالركائب لم تسير لساني طرف فيك والكل نوما بجاناتي ولأخيار كود ولم يزال وادي بترب العاشمي مخيما أخاتب بالشغر والقلم الذي يقرب أقصى ما أكن مترجما ببر وبحر قد بعث مدائي وذا اليوم أشجو عن هوى متجنجما أخاطب بالمدي وهو بطيبة وإني هذا البيت كالتي كالمحرمة أولئك ذكنيه يمس مقبلا أشوم مكانا شام البدر مهرما أولئك ذكنيه يمس مقبلا أشوم مكانا شام البدر مهرما بزمزم فوق البير من بطن مكة أناشد مديا لهاشمي مترنما بملتزم والمسلمون زويهم بذكر وتكبير ترى كل رما فمن لي بإمام بطيبة بالنقاء مقر رسول جاء آخرا مقدما مرادي أمين الله مركز أحمد بأن تصل الإسلام أهلا وأفخما بهذا جبريل الأمين موزبا وموسى حدما في شان من جاء مختما عليك صلاة الله ثم سلامه من العبد إبراهيم شوقا ومكرما عليك صلاة الله ثم سلامه قوي رجاء بل أتى متسلما عليك صلاة الله ثم سلامه ففارج كروب المسلمين وعمما عليك صلاة الله ثم سلامه ومنك يا بالمصطفى القرن مكرما عليك صلاة الله ثم سلامه ففارج قلوب المسلمين وأمما عليك صلاة الله ثم سلامه فيرزق وفدي عنك هوبا ومغنما عليك صلاة الله ثم سلامه ففارج قلوب المسلمين وهمما عليك صلاة الله ثم سلامه ويرزق عبدي منك عوبا ومغنما عليك صلاة الله ما قال مجرم عطيف سلام أن ركبي يمما أقدره وامتدار العظيم. This particular poem was written when Sheikh Ibrahim radiallahu anhu was on his way traveling from Taiba in Medina to Taiba in Mecca, Medina. When he was going on pilgrimage, he was extolling the virtues of the Prophet in praises and in prose. And he says all those places of the place of Zamzam, the place of Maqam Ibrahim, all the places of worship, he was mentioning them that he's remembering Mustafa Alihib, the beloved one, at every stop, by the place of Zamzam, by the place of Biri Zamzam, by the place of that Safa Marwa area, every point that our Sheikh was passing, he was remembering and eulogizing the praise of the Prophet. And he says that he is sending peace and blessings of Allah on the Holy Prophet, and that he's also praying that the entire Muslim Ummah benefits from the eulogy and from the praises and from the prayers that he's rendering. And he's also praying that alayka salatullahi summa salamuhu, may the peace and blessings of Allah be upon you, my Prophet Muhammad, fayuzaku wafdi minka. And I'm also praying that you bless all my delegation, all my people, as I am traveling with a lot of people, those ones that I left at home, those ones that I met on the way, may Allah continue to bless them by the praise of the Prophet. These are one of the poems that is meant for, we need to reflect on the meaning, and the meaning basically is about remembering the Prophet and his effort at bringing Islam and the fighting to ensure that Islam stays with us. I don't know if I have another time to, maybe I have some extra minutes or my time is up. Otherwise, I will close with just one line of Madhu to say, Allahumma ya Rabbi salli ala Muhammad. Allahumma ya Rabbi salli ala Muhammad. Wa sayyidi saadati Nabi Muhammad. Uhibu Nabi al-Hashimi ya Muhammadan. Uhibu Nabi al-Hashimi ya Muhammadan. Ajal al-wara zatan wa aslan wa matida. Wa atiyabahum nafsan wa atwalahum yada. Atoba lahu rahmanu nashian wa maulida. Famozala mimman khala fala koyabulahu. Allahumma ya Rabbi salli ala Muhammad wa sayyidi saadatin Nabi Muhammada. Tabaraka Rabbun amana bi baihi wa ada ilayna rahmatan min samai. Rasulan shafa adiwana bidawaihi. Jazallahu khairan nasi khaira jazaihi. Fahasaru aniwaru atataballaju. Uhibun Nabi al-Hashimi ya Muhammada. Allahumma ya Rabbi salli ala Muhammad wa sayyidi saadatin Nabi Muhammad. Malaikatu Rahmanu qalat bifadli wa anat tamana limuhibu liwasli. Aramun ala al-ayami ijadu misli. Ainu ila takbili mautina ali. Tahali arwa billazi kuntu adimahu. Salli ala Muhammad. Salli ala Muhammad. Allahumma ya Rabbi salli ala Muhammad. Wa sayyidi saadatin Nabi Muhammad. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Jazakallah khairan. That was beautiful zikri. Inshallah, we hope to hear more from our mother. Inshallah, we need to move swiftly on to the next item on the list, which is women empowerment by Mrs. Lina Adesida. Inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. I hope you can hear me. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can very well. Thank you, ma'am.
So good afternoon. Sorry, people. I'm on my way. I have a function today, so I'm speaking from my car, and that's why I haven't had my video on. Thank you to all of the previous speakers. My name is, I love that poem, Mrs. Bello, I think it was. I really love that poem, even though I didn't understand a word of it, but I will learn. My name is Mrs. Lara Akinyede, for those of you that have not met me before. And also the speaker, I think Sister Lara that spoke earlier. Oh, that was so amazing about relationships and about forgiveness and about, I think you made reference to being bold and, you need to pray about it and all of that if you're shy. And I really actually do agree with you in everything that you said concerning that. So I'm going to check my time so that I don't overrun. Today, I had two topics to talk to you about, but I decided to just go with one. The first topic that I wanted to really talk to you about is about blowing your own trumpet. And as women, we don't blow our own trumpet because in the Quran, it says we should not be boastful and all of these things. And also in the Bible, it says exactly that. So, I'm going to talk to you about it when I'm much prepared to talk about it. However, today I'm going to talk about planning. I'm on a trip, to Nottinghamshire, right at the end of it, actually, Mansfield. And it's about almost 3 hours from me. And I'm going to see a friend and I'm going to drive back. And to be able to go on this journey, I had been planning for 2 weeks. Yeah. But a lot of us live our life and we don't make any plans. A lot of us live our life and we don't make any plans. A lot of us plan to buy a house. We plan to go on vacation. We plan weddings. We plan funerals. I mean, the person you're doing the funeral for has gone and doesn't even understand what it is happening behind them. And we take months and we fall out with friends and family about all of this planning, but we fail to plan for our lives. May God help us. May God give us the wisdom on learning that we need to plan. I can tell those of you that are younger, a lot of you might look at me and think I'm quite young. I am young because I'm energetic. However, I'm not young in age. And, all the things that I know now, I wish somebody had been telling me. And I think, Sister Lara referenced that she wished there were so many things she knew. All the things I know now, I wish I had known when I was much younger, but I now know, so I have no excuse. And you now know by us impacting in you. Before now, we didn't have all of these things. So I'm just going to go through a few points about planning and the importance of planning. There's a famous saying that says that people don't just fail. They fail because they fail to plan. If you plan to fail, so let me just tell you this. If you plan to fail in your life, then you will not be planning. Planning is so important. Even the way I've got my life to a T. And of course, what I'm saying is not in isolation to everything else that you've heard, because again, Sister Lara referenced, a passage in the Bible that, if we don't put God in our plan, then we are just building in vain. So even if you're a good planner, you still have to put Almighty God, Almighty Allah in that space so that your plans will go. So the first thing I want to tell you is approach every day in your life like a new adventure. As if you're planning for your vacation, plan for the day. Some of us don't plan for the day. I wake up in the morning, I say my prayers, and I look at all the things in my schedule, and I schedule what I want to do when. Yeah. I don't let unnecessary phone calls distract me. I will take the call, but I would tell the person, I'm sorry, I can't speak with you now. I will call you later or speak to you later, because that person was not in my plan. And I don't plan for emergency calls. So in 99% of cases, I can tell people that if I pick up your call and I'm talking to you, is because right in that point, maybe it was my break time or I was just taking time out. So if you do not plan, you plan to fail. Always approach your professional life, your married life, your children's life with a plan. Start the day with a plan. Look at, what am I doing today? How am I going to mix this and this? Part of my plan was to stop and do this conversation. I would have actually been nearer. I'm just about 20 minutes off where I'm going. I would have actually arrived there and stayed in my car. But of course, I didn't plan for the petrol shortage, and so the long queues. But I'm here, not far from where I'm going for my destination. Point number 2, decide who you are and what makes you happy when you're planning your life. Because sometimes our life is based on other people's agenda for us. You have to look at, who am I? Am I confident? If I'm not confident, what do I need to do to get confidence? If I'm confident, what do I need to do to better how I speak in public? If I'm good at speaking in public, what do I need to do in how I present myself? So you need to decide who you are and what makes you happy. What makes me happy is going to see people. That's why I'm going to see my friend. Although part of the visit is business related, but part of it is genuinely to go and see her because she's just bought a house. She's just relocated to this country and she's a medical doctor and has bought a new house. I'm excited about things like that. I am excited. And I go and visit people based on such good news. So I'm going to her house just to go and meet her. And then I will be training her because she's one of my consultants as well. Even though she's a medical doctor, she also is in my team as a beauty consultant with Mary Kay. Now, before you can plan, that's point number 3, you have to have goals. So if you don't have goals, you can waste your life. Because if you don't have goals, then what are you planning for? What exactly are you planning for? I don't think any of us sit down and go, what do I want to achieve today? I do. Yes, maybe not every day, but majority of the day I go, what do I want to achieve at the end of today? So at the end of today, when I see this lady, I've asked her to invite some of her friends. So at the end of the day, I want her to be able to sell some of her products. That's my goal. That's why I'm driving all this way, to see her house. Yeah, that's social. And then to teach her how to present. Now we're back out and about meeting people. And obviously, before you are able to achieve your goals, you have to be able to break it down. Now, another thing about planning is a lot of people are afraid of failure, so they don't want to think about it. They don't want to plan. They're like, oh my God, gosh, I can't make £1 million in a week. Who said that? Who said that? If nobody's made £1 million in a week, then be that person to break records, because the God that created us allows us to be able to break records. So if you have a fear of failure, it will keep you grounded. And actually, you have failed already. Because if you do not start, then you will not even finish or even get into the middle. So the fear of the death of fear is doing what you fear to do the most. And so whenever you're planning, it's always good to plan in a book, write it down, know what it is you want to do, know how you want to do it, and make sure that you go and talk to the people that are able to help you achieve that. Okay, now, the other thing about planning is there's always going to be obstacles. Plan for your obstacles. Have you heard that? People don't even do that. So you plan and you think everything is going to go smooth, and you go to the airport and they say to you, oh, you can't travel because now you have to, because of the Schengen visa thing, you have to get a visa. That has happened to a lot of people and they've missed their flights. So these days, especially during the pandemic, when you're doing anything or going anywhere, you have to think to yourself, what has changed? Because the plan would normally be buy my ticket, go to the airport, do this, do that. Tell yourself what has changed. You know, what do you need to do differently now? Because if you don't plan for the obstacles now, this day, I was meant to travel last month. And of course, my Nigerian visa expired or my Nigerian passport expired. I'm like, I'm not going until I've seen people that have gone and come unscathed, you know, because I was planning for the obstacles, and thank God, you know, I didn't go. I now know what to do when I need to travel. And my last point is, when you come to a roadblock in your plan, instead of giving up, take a detour. Take a detour. You know, a detour might take you another year to get to your goal. It might take you another 6 months. It might take you just a day. But if you didn't have a plan in the first place, if you didn't have a plan, then how would you even get to that detour? How would you recognize the detour when you get there? So one thing I want to really leave with you before I end is, as women, as mothers, we do not plan. We do not plan at all. I was lucky that intuitively, I just did certain things. It wasn't because I purposefully planned. But now that I know that planning is so important and crucial, I tell everyone, you need to plan. You need to learn how to plan. You need to teach your children how to plan. It's not too late. My daughter is perfect at doing planning. She's perfect at doing planning because I don't even know all the things she's achieved. She's able to work, be one of the top 100 women in cycling in the UK, and Black at that, and also almost completing her PhD. So tell me, is she not a great planner? So ladies, thank you for listening. Let us go learn how to plan. And as I always say, if you want to find out more about what I do or how I can help you, then, you know, Hamdalah has my number, and Aisha, or Fumi, as I know her, has my number as well. Thank you so much for listening to me. I hope I've been able to impact into your life. I think my time is done. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that, Sister Lina. I remember her from last month. It's good to have you back. I think Sister Hamdalah has an interlude she'd like to bring in for 5 minutes, if I'm correct. No? Okay, so we can move on to the question and answer session by Alhaja Bumi Abdurrauf.
One step before the question and answer, please. Okay. It's about Alhaja Bumi Abdurrauf. We are using this medium to wish her a blessed birthday celebration. On behalf of all of us, we wish her a very, very long life and a more prosperous living on earth. Bijahi Rasulullahi and Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So I'm not sure whether she's ready to come on. Yes, mashallah. Yeah, she's one of our beautiful mothers at ZAFAT. So we are so glad and we feel highly honored that you are one of us. I can still see our mother Alaja Bilkis Grillo. I will come back to her to help us do a special prayer, probably how can lazy for Alaja Bumi Hamdalah. She was our moderator last month. So she's September born. Inshallah. May Allah elongate her assistance. So we will allow our mother, Alaja Bilkis, to pray for Alaja Bumi Abdurrahman. So I was meant to do that, but inshallah, since I have our mothers on ground, I think it's better to start from the barakah, inshallah. Yes, ma'am. Bismillah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi. Once again, we give thanks to Almighty Allah for today and for this month and for our dear sister in Allah, Sister Bumi Abdurrahman, if I'm not mistaken. May Allah grant her long life. May Allah grant her prosperity. May Allah give her sound health. May Allah strengthen her to continue to put in her very best for the propagation of Din al-Islam and for the propagation of the Faida of the Tariqa Tijaniya. May Allah strengthen her and bless her household. May Allah grant her sound health. May Allah continue to be with her. I join all sisters in ZAFAT to pray for you that everything you've been blessed with, may Allah continue to increase the blessings on them, and everything that you are still opening and spreading your arms to Almighty Allah to grant you, may Allah, by the honor of Holy Prophet Muhammad, grant you this, your prayers, the prayers of your heart. May Allah grant you all of your needs. And by the honor of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, may your today be always better than your yesterday, and your tomorrow always better than your today. Bijai Sayyidina Muhammad wa bisiri Bismillahi Rahmanir Rahim. Bismillahi Rahmanir Rahim. Bismillahi Rahmanir Rahim. We will pray with the Surah Al-An'am. Watiluka Ujatuna, they mentioned 17 prophets. All of them, Allah mentioned them by way of elevation. We ask Allah to elevate you in all your deeds, in all your needs, in all your areas of endeavors. We will recite that one, and then we will also do some prayer of salat on the Prophet, so that by his honor, may Allah answer all our prayers. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Watilka ujatuna atainaha Ibrahim ala qaumihi narfa'u darajatin man nasha'u inna rabbaka hakimun alim. Wa wahabna lahu Ishaqa wa Ya'qub kullan adayna wa Nuhan adayna min qablu wa min zurriyyatihi Dawud wa Sulaiman wa Ayyuba wa Yusufa wa Musa wa Harun wa kadhalika najzil muhsinin wa Zakariya wa Yahya wa Isa wa Ilyas kullun min as-salihin wa Ismaila wa Yasa wa Yunus wa Lutan wa kullan faddalna ala al-alamin wa min habaihim wa dhurriyyatihim wa ikhwanihim واتبعناهم وهديناهم إلى صراط مستقيم. بسم الله بابنا تبارك حيتاننا ياسين سقفنا كاف أو يا عين صد كفاياتنا ميم عين think of إماياتنا وسيكفيكهم الله وهو السميع العليم. ستر الله مزبول علينا وعين الله ناظرة إلينا بحول الله لا يقدر علينا والله من ورائهم محيط بل هو قرآن مجيد في لوح محفوظ والله خير حافظا وهو أرحم الراحمين. والله خير حافظا وهو أرحم الراحمين. والله خير حافظا وهو أرحم الراحمين. إن ولي الله الذي نزل الكتاب وهو يتولى الصالحين. حسبي الله الذي لا إله إلا هو عليه توكلت وهو رب العرش العظيم. بسم الله الذي لا يضر مع اسمه شيء في الأرض ولا في السماء وهو السميع العليم. ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. We pray Allah to put His light in all your affairs, in your home, in your endeavors, with your family, wherever you may be, wherever you may go. May Allah continue to encircle you with His light of guidance, with His light of blessing, with His light of protection. Bisiri Allah nuru samawati wal ard wa falu nuri kamishkatin fiha misbah al-misbah fi zujaja az-zujaja sukahanna kawkabun duri yuqadu min shajaratin mubaraka zaytunatin la sharqiyya wala gharbiyya yakadu zaytuha yudihu wala lam tamsasi an-nar nurun ala nur yahdi Allahu li nurihi man yasha wa yadribu Allahu al-amthala lin-nas wallahu bikulli shay'in alim. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد الفاتح لما أغلق والخاتم لما سبق ناصر الحق بالحق والهادي إلى صراطك المستقيم وعلى آله حق قدره ومقداره العظيم صلاة تفتح لنا بها أبواب الرضا والتيسير وتغلق بها عنا أبواب الشر والتعسير وتكون لنا بها يا ربنا وليا ونصيرا أنت ولينا ومولانا فيا نعم المولى ويا نعم النصير صلاة ترضيك وترضيه وترضى بها عنا يا رب العالمين. بحق سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون والسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. صلوا على النبي الكريم.
Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. I've got that smile that I was looking for. MashaAllah. Oh, MashaAllah. It's all about Elijah Bumi Abdurrauf. She deserves so much. MashaAllah.
Jerry's in production.
ربي بمرياتي شفي بالمنطق البديع أبغي بها محمدي تانية ربي بمرياتي شفي بالمنطق البديع أبغي بها محمدي يا ربنا صل على خير الأنام من يعلم
Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. We thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the life of our mother, as our mother has said, mother praying for mother. So, Alhamdulillah, thank you to our moderator for allowing this to happen. Alaja Shakira Shukran Jazilan.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Wallahi, I'm short of words. I don't even know what to say. Wallahi lazim. So, alhamdulillah, 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 rabbil alameen. The only thing I can say is just to say Jazakallah khairan to all the sisters of ZAFAT. May Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless and answer our prayers. Bijahi Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wa sallam. I really appreciate this. I wasn't expecting it this morning when we spoke and you said, oh, we've got a surprise for you. Wallahi, I was not even thinking of anything, but alhamdulillah rabbil alameen, alhamdulillah rabbil alameen, alhamdulillah rabbil alameen. So to today's assignment, let me start by saying a very big thank you. I'll start from the bottom. Firstly to Mrs. Adeshida, as always. I'm not surprised. Our advice to us today is about planning, that as mothers, as wives, we should be good planners. We should plan everything. And the English people will say, when you fail to plan, you plan to fail. But we as mothers of Al-Jannah, we always plan to succeed. So thank you very much for the reminder again. And I'll go to our mother, that's Sayyidah Bilkis Grillo. Thank you very much, ma. For always being there, for always being there, for always being there. May Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala preserve your life for us and for Islam, His deen. Bijahi Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wa sallam. And I will go to our speaker of today, in person of Mrs Lara Akinyede, greatest UIs. I'm a UI too, so you know, for everyone, everybody knows it is a bitter truth that there are just 2 universities in the whole of the world. That's University of Ibadan and others. So, and wherever you see a UI, you see stuff, We say so.
Greatest
Thank you
last
for your life.
Others are great, but we are the greatest.
No, it's only greatest UI. So if you are saying greatest last wife, you're just trying to steal the show, which is not possible. So let's leave it like that. So thank you very much, Mrs. Lara Akinyede, for your valuable information that you managed to share with us today, free of charge. But for those of us that started with you, when you started the presentation, we could see that you've actually dropped what I would call the bombshell, for us to go home, sleep over, and think a lot about it, especially as mothers. You spoke to us about what is love, loving ourselves, loving God, loving our neighbor. You talked about being thankful. And we as Muslims, at least, no matter how lazy you are, you will say the word thankfulness to your Creator at least 17 times in a day, not to talk of other things. So that is to show you that in Islam, being thankfulness is one of the priorities of what we do in Islam. You also talked to us, or you reminded us about grace, the grace of God, and also about trust, being trustworthy and trusting God himself. You talked about wisdom, you talked about understanding, you talked about forgiveness, which is another pillar for us in Islam, because if you don't forgive others, how will you feel calling on to God to forgive you? You understand? And also forgiving yourself, because there are some things that happen or we do. If we don't forgive ourselves, how are we going to be able to raise our hand to move ahead or to forge ahead in life? You also talked about respect and being positivity, which is really, really very important. Respect yourself, respect others. And when you do that, you'll be able to respect God too. And I really appreciate everything you've told us today. And for the next few minutes, I know our sisters and our mothers that you've managed to speak with, they will have one or two things, maybe a sort of comment or clarification or questions to actually ask you, or an area whereby we actually need you to shed more light. So without any further ado, I'm going to ask our sisters and anybody that have got one or two questions to ask by maybe raising hands, or if you want to actually speak, kindly indicate and you'll be unmuted to ask your questions. Please, the floor is now open.
One of the questions that has been sent earlier by one of our sisters is, if you have a husband who is adamant, you've been forgiving and trying to make that person change kind of, and it's still like moving in a circle, what should you do?
So thank you very much. And this is one where we need wisdom, and we need God's wisdom, because anyone who takes a question like this and gives the answer clearly, I would say, is needing wisdom. Because what is a husband that is adamant in their ways? What does that mean? Is it that they don't want to work? They don't want to engage, so all the burden of family life is down to you? Is it that they don't practice the faith? Is it that they're lying? So for each different thing, or fundamentally, is it that they're physically abusive? They could be physically abusive, emotionally or mentally abusive. And any form of abuse is abuse. Physical is dangerous because why? It could lead to loss of life, or it could, even worse, it could lead to life-changing injuries. So I think the way this is dealt with will depend on exactly what the issues are. And if we pack abuse to one side, because I think in almost every faith, I have relationships, my parents were Muslims. So I went to Unity School where we had Muslim services. So I'm not a stranger to Islam, and I'm a Christian, and I have a lot of Jewish friends. I think abusive relationship is the one that every faith is like, when it gets to that point, you have to save the person that is being abused. But if it's relational, as in everyday challenges, I think there are things that can be done. The person can be spoken to. Families can be involved, trusted families, not just anybody. We can speak to our mothers first to say, Mommy, this is what is happening. This is what I'm experiencing. What do you think I should do? I know as children, we don't often take our parents' advice, but we use it as sounding board. So find a trusted person, speak to them, pray about it, and the next step will be revealed to you by God. So I believe strongly in fellowship, in relating with people, in having trusted friends. And a mother is a trusted friend. But above all, I believe in God. I believe in that relationship with God, which is God will reveal things to you. Because if it's not something you should take, God will give you the tools to either manage it or He will say to you what you should do. So I unless it's physical abuse, if it's abuse, then I think that's merits actually putting a stake in the ground and saying, if there was physical abuse last night, that was the last time it will ever happen. Because I'm going to get the right people involved. And if I need to move into his mother's house or his father's house to keep myself safe and my children physically safe, that's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to be here to be beaten up to a pulp, because that shouldn't be a thing anyone puts up with. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mrs. Akinyede. I'm trying to look onto the chat. I can't see any other question or anybody raising hands to ask question. So maybe while we're waiting for that, permit me to ask a question. You know, during your presentation, when you were talking about forgetfulness, forgiveness, okay? My own question is, you know, at times during relationship or relationship building, when you're in relationship with anybody, maybe your friend or even your husband or any relation or even your in-laws, there are times that something happened, and that thing that happens could be something that really pains you to your bone marrow, and you happen to swear that, you know what, that is it. I've had enough. I'm done. I'm not going to. There is nothing that will make us to have for the relationship to be the way it was before. You understand? Maybe with time, you know, people might come on board to say, no, let's forget what has happened. Now you say, okay, I've forgiven you, but I will never forget. So what are the things in terms of steps that you can do to rebuild the old glory of the relationship?
So thank you for that, sister. And I think almost every married person on this forum and even out there in the big world, you know, this small and bigger forum, everybody at one point in their marriage journey would have had a situation that arose where they're like, okay, that's it. Even if I stay here, I'm keeping my heart to myself and I'm keeping, you know, I'll still be wife, but you know yourself that you're not. Time is a great healer. They say that, you know, we grew up hearing these things, but we leave it. We know that with time has a ability to heal things, but God is a healer. God is the almighty healer, and God can heal any situation. So a situation arose, two parties, one wrongs the other, and there's apology, there's okay, let me think about it. Over time, you're like, okay, I forgive. I'm not holding it against you. But the scar is there. It's like falling down off a bike. You get back on the bike and you ride. But the scar of that first time you got onto it and you fell down is there. And it's big initially. While it's healing, if the bike rubs it again, it opens up. But after a while, it heals, doesn't it? But then it's there. But go back in 4 years, in 5 years, no matter how old you were when you had that fall, go back after a few years, you still see it, but it has faded, hasn't it? And it will only open up if that bike or another, well, let's imagine it's the same bike, scratches you again, in which case you say, you, this bike. It's almost as if you want to kill me because we've forgotten about this. And then you throw me again. But is it just the bike that throws us though? Is it something about the way we ride that bike? So we all learn, because when you fall the first time, yes, you look at the bike. Did I tighten the legs properly? Is the brake working? But you yourself, you say, how am I riding this bike? So there is always work on both sides. And what God asks of us is to forgive and to move on and to relate. He hasn't told us not to do our self-assessment and say, how am I riding this bike? How was I riding? Was I riding and not paying attention? Was I looking where I was going? Because if that was the case, no matter how good the bike is, no matter how sorry the bike is, if I do the same thing, I'm likely to end up in the same situation. But God heals, and time, if we allow time, we have to allow time, but the healing comes from God. And a wound heals and fades into, something that you look at and you remember, but it doesn't cause you pain. Yeah. So.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mrs. Akinyede. So it's about reflection, the fact that someone has wronged you doesn't mean you should close the door. It's just like closing the door of mercy, so just reflect and see that where have I also gone wrong, you understand? It might be maybe I happen to be the cause, okay? And it's what has happened from the other person could be a sort of reaction, right? So yes, we both have something to do. And I also believe that there is nothing that happens to a human being that cannot be resolved over the table. It's just about talking like two responsible adults. Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate that. I can't see any hands up or any question in the chat. So which means my sisters, they all understood 100% your presentation today, which is very, very marvelous. Thank you very much, Mrs. Lara Akinyede. I do hope that next time when we call upon you, you'll be very happy to answer our call. Thank you very much. We appreciate your time and God bless. So over to you, my sister.
Yes, thank you very much for that, Sister. Sorry. Thank you for the question and answers. Anyway, so we're moving on to the vote of thanks. We would like to ask Sister Bilal. I don't know if she's on the
I think it's okay platform. To move to the announcement for now, please.
All right, okay.
Thank you.
So we'll move to the announcement by Alaja Ganiat Olateju. Mrs. Olateju.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Just a brief summary of the activities we hold on ZAFAT Sisters Forum. Every Friday, we have the wazifa section, Kubra session, starts at 6 p.m. every Friday of the week. On Sundays, we have Family Lateef, starts at 4 p.m. every Sunday. And on weekdays, 7:30, we have our daily wazifa, starts at 7:30 every day. We look forward to seeing everybody join online. May Almighty Allah continue to be with all of us. Amen.
Okay, Jazakallah Khairun for the announcements. And we have, is it a closing prayer now or closing remark by Sister Hamdalah Bello?
Alhamdulillah, 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 Rabbil Alameen. It's been a blessed and a blissful afternoon for us all. From all our mothers in Nigeria, in the UK, everywhere you are, we appreciate you all our speakers, Mrs. Omolara, Mrs. Adesida, Alaja Bumi, Alaja Fumilawal, everybody, you are all amazing people, our PRO, the moderators, everybody, all attendees, we appreciate you all. May Allah appreciate you more. May Allah not make this the last for us. May we be blessed with more of. Ibrahim from Cairo, we appreciate you. Thanks for joining. We love you and love everybody. Every one of you, we recognize everybody and appreciate everybody. So we end this session. We started with prayer and we're going to end it with prayer as well. May Allah accept it from every one of us as an act of ibadah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Allahumma rabbana hatina fi dunya hasana wa fil akhirati hasanatan wa qina azaban nar. Allahumma salli ala sayyidina Muhammad al-Fatihi lima ughliqa wal khatimi liman sabaqa wa nasir al-haqi bil haqq wal hadi ila siratikal mustaqim wa ala alihi haqqa qadrihi wa miqdaril azim. Allahumma amin. Sallu ala nabiyil kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Assalamu alaikum. Is that all the items on the list, I think?
Yes, I'm just going to start a screen share while people leave, inshallah.
Okay.
So we are done with everything, alhamdulillah. Shukran jazilan, sister. Thank you everyone for attending. Looking forward to see you all next week and next month, inshallah. Next month, last Saturday of the month. Bye for now.